All right, so we're in Lightroom. We've got our Testarossa photos in front of us, and let's just jump right into it. This very first one, look at that. We've got my buddy Baker. I'm actually not going to edit this one. He's a little camera shy and whatever. Take a look at this one. We got the head-on photo of the car. First thing I'm going to do, go over here and crop it. I'm going to do 4:5 ratio. Most of these photos end up on Instagram, and when you're talking portrait orientation, Instagram likes 4:5. So that's what we're going to do. Kind of get it lined up. I like to use the grid overlay rather than the thirds. It's nice to check the thirds as well, but when you're getting like perfect center alignment, the grid is nice and kind of helps you find the horizon a little bit easier. So that's why I like to use that. We'll set that up, get the car pretty much centered there. And first thing I want to do is add some contrast. Maybe get it up to 40 or so. I want to make the red pop. Like when you're shooting a vintage Ferrari and it's painted red, you want to make that red stand out. So I'm going to go down to the color mixer too and bump up this saturation a bit. In this case, I'm going for a look, and that look is to emphasize kind of that vintage Ferrari vibe. And for that reason, I'm actually going to bump up the temperature a little too. It was at 5550 or something like that. I think I'm just going to make it 6,000 even and see. That looks pretty warm and orange, but I'm liking this look so far. This was shot with the Sigma 35mm 1.4. Once again, this is like my favorite combination for car photography. It's that Sigma 35 with a full-frame Sony body. I don't remember if I shot this with the A7 IV or the A7S III, but regardless, both would provide pretty good-looking photos here. Next up, I want to take a look at the clarity slider. I might actually decrease clarity, because if we zoom in on the car here, you decrease that clarity, that adds like softness. And obviously, if you go to either extreme, it actually looks insane. Like dropping the clarity to negative 100 looks like this, and positive 100 looks like this. And in my opinion, neither of those look great, but something subtle like negative 10 can make a pretty nice softening look. So I'm going to do that. And I might also drop the dehazer a tiny bit. It's already looking a lot nicer. Cool. Let's see what else. Let me just bump up the vibrance. Are there any tones that I want to remove using the color mixer? The color mixer is honestly one of the most powerful tools in Lightroom, and I find that I actually kind of like these green hues of the windows. Might change to make them a little bit. That's a little too blue. Honestly, I'm just going to keep it as is. It's pretty nice, looking all pale. That looks funny. That looks pretty good. What else? I'm going to raise the highlights. If we take a look here, you'll notice that there isn't a crazy amount of push happening towards the right. So I'm going to raise those highlights a little bit, try to make them bloom. And then I'm going to press L to get the linear gradient. If you guys watched my other editing tutorial, you'll know that I really like to do this when there's black asphalt on the bottom of the photo. You just make a linear gradient and drop the exposure of it, and it really creates an intense kind of, it draws your attention to whatever it's leading into. So before, after, car is really popping now. I might actually do another linear gradient coming from the top, and in this case do a raised exposure to kind of make it look like some sunlight, and I'm going to actually warm it up. This is a little riskier. Definitely looks a little more fraudulent. I'm going to, when I say fraudulent, I mean just fake. I'm going to stretch out the gradient a little and try and kind of combat it. But honestly, kind of love the look of this photo right now. It is pushing my limits of what I would call over editing, but I do like this. So now I'm actually going to do Command C and get this copy settings window to come up and just honestly copy pretty much everything except for the masks. And then actually, you know what? I'll even copy the masks and then we'll just adjust them. And then move on to a different photo. Look at that. The difference between these two photos is insane. So let me show you guys the power of copying and pasting settings when you're in the same scenario, right? Like this is the same setting. The lighting was probably not that different and I'm using the same camera. So I'm just going to do Command V, paste these settings, and this looks like I'm going to get rid of the gradient on the bottom for starters. Okay, that's better. I don't like the way this looks. Now I'm starting to like it, but this is like blown out at the top. So I'm actually going to remove that other mask. And there you go. Okay, so if I didn't paste the masks, it was going to look a lot better. This actually looks really good. I'm going to crop it again to 4x5, get that little black asphalt piece out, and make sure that corner starts on the pavers on the bottom left here if you pay attention. And I really like this photo. And I barely had to do any slider adjustment because I already had good settings. So I'm going to copy them again without the masking. And let's move to, there's a really cool photo with these door slats that I did. If we move forward, yeah. I did a couple of these. I thought this was a really fun, creative shot. Some of them look a little goofy. It's definitely out there, but, you know, when you get a car like... Ugh, forgive me, guys. The recording literally just stopped. I don't know. My computer had some sort of glitch, but we're back. So we have this cool photo through the door slats, and I'm going to paste our previous edits on this. And honestly, that looks so sick. Let's try a linear gradient from the bottom to increase the darkness on that door. Yeah, see, like, boom. You get that nice lead up focus on this Cavallino logo in the center cap. And let's actually center the photo on it if possible. Yeah, that looks nice. I absolutely love this. It's so cool that you could see the reflection of the wheel on the right side here on the door. And I think maybe raise the highlights a little. They're completely blown out in this area, but I want it that way because I want to be able to really get that dreamy look. I'm going to raise the shadows as well. Here's the before. Here's the after. That is looking good. All right, we're going to move on to the last photo for this session, which is this one, through the glass shot. The inspiration here was kind of like, you know, 8-year-old me looking through the glass, wishing that I had the supercar. Except the irony is I'm inside the showroom and the car's outside the showroom here, but let's imagine it was the other way around for the sake of the story. Regardless, we're going to start with our baseline copy-paste edits from our last photo. And this one, the white balance is a little bit different because the camera is inside the store, and I think it just metered it differently. So it looks greener and a little less orange. I'm going to change the tint, move it further in the magenta direction here. And that already is looking a lot nicer to me. The highlights are pretty blown out in the sky here. I'm going to reduce the highlights overall. See how that looks? And let's see what it looks like at 0. Drop them, raise them. Honestly, I like them raised. We're going to leave them at 40. And I think we need to punch in. So I'm going to crop. I'm going to make it 4x5. I don't really like that you can see the right edge of this green pillar. So I'm going to crop that in. And then I think I might just crop a little bit further here. I like that because you could tell you're looking through a window. and you're not too distracted. Let's just see real quick what it looks like if you can see both sides of the window. I don't know how I feel about this one, guys. There we go. Maybe if I can just get that corner on the bottom right here, kind of perfectly aligned. Yeah, that honestly looks pretty nice. I'm going to bump up the temperature a little more, make it even more warm. Like kind of unnaturally warm, but I like this look. And let's see here. I honestly love the way this looks. This is killer. I'm going to reduce the tint, get it going in the green direction. Here's the before, here's the after. I don't know. This doesn't need much. Maybe add a tiny bit of sharpening, but that really won't be that noticeable anyway. This car's just so stunning. I mean, honestly, any photo you take of it's going to look good, right? But I love this one through the window, kind of seen through glass. You need a good polarizer. Actually, you don't need a good polarizer. You just need a polarizing filter to shoot through glass like this. Otherwise, there'd be a bunch of reflections. So I'll have to make a video where I actually shoot a car and then walk you through how I shoot a car and then edit it. So it's kind of like an end-to-end thing. But this was just kind of like a quick little live edit video to show you kind of how quick and simple some of these edits can be. And, you know, they take you from this to this. And while it's not like a completely drastic overhaul, it makes a noticeable difference. So thanks for watching.